readers will surely note that our news bulletins contain certain variations of actual fact. They include some rewrites of history, reinventions of philosophy, and a few new twists of old names.
Hi, my name is Danae Daniel, and this is my friend Carrie Scott. We're in Algebra 1 together. Our class has been studying Greek history because of its importance, foundation in modern math.
Not only are they known for their mathematics skills, they are also known for their Greek literature and fine architecture and great culture.
Our class developed this timeline to show you about great events and memorable people.
Homer, who lived in 850, was a great writer who wrote about the Trojan War.
The Spartans developed their culture militarily. Our school's mascot is a Spartan, and we'll be investigating them later.
The Olympics were originated in Greece and are still carried on today in 776.
The Parthenon is a famous Greek temple built in 447 BC.
Another important Greek writer was Sophocles in 480. He wrote one great story, and it was about Oedipus, King of Kings.
Socrates was one of the most famous Greek philosophers. He lived in 332. We will be hearing about him more and how his own countrymen forced him to commit suicide.
The Greeks were instrumental in developing the principles of geometry. Euclid was in one of the greatest in Greek geometries.
Ptolemy was a great scientist. He watched the stars and the planets and developed a very interesting theory about the solar system. He lived in the year of 85 AD.
Pythagoras, who was born in 580, was a philosopher of mathematics and a religious leader. He lived in and developed a triangle theory that we still use today.
Our community specialized in applying mathematical theories to daily life. He lived in 270, and he too developed theories we use today.
Our Algebra 1 class and Miss Carlisle's English class has gotten together and demonstrated things we have learned about the Greeks. We have developed a trip through time and space so that you can also see the Greeks in action. To guide you on this trip, we have our time-space warp correspondents Kelly Earp and David Boyce, who will be joining you in just a minute. So buckle your seatbelts and get ready for a news break trip through Greek history.
Thank you, Carrie and Danae. I'm Kelly Earp, your Space Warp News Break correspondent. Our class has demonstrated what we know about the Greeks through time and space warp news breaks. Some in Greece, others at Sentinel High. The class members read one of Homer's famous works called the Odyssey, which describes Ulysses' wanderings after the Trojan War, but he doesn't tell what happened to some members of Ulysses' crew. Some members of the class researched literature and history to find out what happened to the crew members. They are in the little theater to discuss their findings.
and thanks for joining us. Today we have two students from Sentinel High School that did major research. And today we have Chris Hine and Shannon Shelby. And Chris, tell me about Paris.
Well, David, Paris is a long story. First, he was asked to make a judgment by Zeus on 3 people. And when he made his judgment, he picked the lady that told him that she'll give him the most beautiful woman in all of the land if she was picked for being the most beautiful. So he took that offer, and the most beautiful woman was this lady named Helen. And Helen was like over in like a different city and stuff, so he went over and he stole her and took her back to Troy. And then all these men came, and that's how the Trojan War started. And he died in the Trojan War at about a year before it ended by an arrow shot, and he was poisoned.
I see. What about Shannon? What about Agamemnon?
Agamemnon had gone to the Trojan War when it started, but first he had sacrificed his daughter Iphigenia to yield the north winds. Agamemnon, when he returned, it had been 10 years since he had sacrificed his daughter. When he returned, his wife, who pretended to love him, though she did not, accepted him with loving arms. He then took a bath, which he had waiting for him when he returned. She had taken a lover while he was gone, and they together had planned the murder of Agamemnon. When he was done bathing, she had put a rope around him and tied the arms behind him so he couldn't move. She then stabbed him until he died. When she was done, she proclaimed to his men of what she had done and why she had done it.
Chris, I heard you did some interesting research on Iphigenia.
Well, like Shannon said, she was sacrificed by her father, Agamemnon, and her last days were like spent in a temple before she was sacrificed.
Okay. And Shannon, what about Helen of Troy?
Helen of Troy's true father is Zeus, but her stepfather she lived with her mother and her stepfather had chosen a husband for her, which was Menelaus. They had lived happily together for 3 years when Paris came to visit Menelaus and stole Helen from him. Helen then was supposedly taken to Egypt, where Menelaus finally found her after the Trojan War. This was made up, I guess, by Menelaus just to save his self-esteem. But what had truly happened was Helen was driven from Sparta to the island of Rhodes, where she was hanged by a tree by the orders of the Queen Calypso.
Okay. Interesting. Chris, what about Helenus?
Well, Helenus didn't really do much. He left the Trojan War. He fought a little bit, but not a whole lot. And then he left before it really started. And then after Troy was destroyed, he came back and he built a miniature Troy with the same like gate at the front, and he made it like all the same so you could remember.
You mentioned something about Menelaus. Why don't you tell us a little about it?
The father of Menelaus is Atreus, and he is also the brother of Agamemnon, who was murdered by his wife. Menelaus was chosen by Helen of Troy's stepfather and to be her husband. They lived happily together for 3 years, and then Paris visited them and stole Helen from him. This was supposedly the cause of the Trojan War. When Paris had taken Menelaus' wife, Helen, he had gotten all of her former suitors together, and they were the forces of the Greeks. After the war, Menelaus was reunited with his wife and reconciled with her. after she had been killed by the orders of the queen, he was then made immortal by one of the goddesses because he was Zeus's son-in-law.
Okay. That about sums it up for today. Thanks for joining us. See you later.
Well, some of the men who survived the Trojan War certainly did have twists and turns in the rest of their lives, didn't they? You know, the Spartans developed a unique culture in their Greek city-state, and Sentinel High School has adopted the mascot as the Spartans. Some class members have worked to define what the Spartans of ancient Greece had to do with the Sentinel Spartans. Let's go now to the main stairway of Sentinel High School and see what they found.
Spartans lived in Sparta on the southern tip of Greece. They fought many battles. The Trojan War, the Battle of Leuctra. The Spartans were great warriors.
The little kids would be trained to be warriors their whole life, and little kids were not allowed to complain. Their parents would make them sleep on wooden beds, and if they complained, they were severely punished.
The kids had hard lives, but it paid off because Spartans were great warriors.
Okay, today we were talking to Robbie Wall, star soccer player for Sentinel Spartans. Hi. Robbie, how do you guys do so well?
Well, we practice 6 days a week, 3 hours a day, and we believe the harder you work, the better you play.
Okay, today we were talking to another true Spartan. His name's Matt Mullender. He's a strong linebacker for Sentinel Spartans. Matt.
Hi, how you doing?
We know that you guys aren't the best and have the best record, but you're pretty strong.
Well, we might not have the best record, but in the future, I feel we will raise.
All right, once again, we're here with Matt Mullender, star football player for Sentinel Spartans. Our satellites were interrupted, so we caught up with him again here in the wrestling room while watching our star wrestler, Eric. Matt, how's it going?
Pretty good. The football year was a little bit slow. We didn't come up to that great of a start, but we'll get him in the future.
Go get him, Matt. All right, finally we've caught up to Eric, our star wrestling player for the Sentinel Spartans. So Eric, why don't you tell us how all the people at home, how you do so well in the wrestling career?
Well,
and how's your career going?
Well, we practice real hard, and I've been winning a lot and haven't lost, so I have a feeling we're going to do good this year.
Oh, yeah? Well, personally, I'm a fan tonight.
What?
Come on, you Griffey Spartan.
Wow, those Spartan boys sure are a scrappy bunch, aren't they? You know, the ancient Greeks were competitive too. Some of our news reporter colleagues are waiting for us at the track to show us what they know about the Olympic Games. Let's get on out to the track and see what they've discovered. Ajax, are you there?
Hi there, folks. This is Ajax with MCAT News. We're here today to talk about the Olympics, some new and some old. Here's Kipper to talk about the Olympics that were played by the Greeks. Here you go, Kip.
Okay. Thanks, Ajax. I'm here at the Olympic Stadium where some of the athletes are trying some of the games. The Olympics started the games in about 776 BC. Damn, the sun's in my eyes. Today's games were taken from the old Olympics. The most famous is the 100 meters. And here's some people running the 100 meters. Hey, Mom! Okay. Some of the other sports that the Greeks played were the long jump, the discus. See that guy discusing? See, he's gonna.
Won't go. They went in the fence right.
Another sport was javelin. And other events. Back in the old days, the Greeks sacrificed a pig before doing the Olympics. And all wars were stopped for the Olympics. Now here's Rocky to tell you about the torch.
I'm Rocky and I'm here to talk to you about the Olympics. The Olympic flame was symbolizes the ancient and modern games. During the ancient Olympics, a sacred flame burned at the Temple of Zeus in Berlin. Berlin adopted a modern version of the flame in 1936, and the tradition has been carried ever since. To start the flame, they used the torch to kindle the flame. The flame gets lit by the sun rays of the Olympia in Greece. The flame is carried to the site of the games. They use relays for runners. Shifted flames are used when necessary.
Here you go, Rocky. Here's the torch that just went out.
Kepler can't get the torch lighted, so. But this is like what it looks like. It's like burning stuff.
Thank you, Ajax and crew. You know, the Greeks not only wrote great literature and ran great races, they also built beautiful buildings. And with the help of time and space warp technology, we're going back in time to meet World War II correspondent Lexan Ebel, who is inquiring of Greek citizens about their memories of the beautiful Parthenon. Buckle your seatbelts and let's go to the 1940s.
Hello, welcome to World News Tonight. You are watching channel WWT64. My name is Lexan Evil. Tonight we're talking about the Parthenon and how it was built because of the bombing there. And here is my guest, Christy Farah. She's going to tell us about the plan of the Parthenon. Hello.
Hello, Lexi.
How are you today?
Pretty good.
All right. Tell me a little bit about the Parthenon.
Okay, the Parthenon was built in 437 BC, and it took 15 years to build, and it was made out of marble, and it came from a mountain near it. And the temple is on the Acropolis in Athens, Greece, and it was built for Athena, the goddess of warriors.
Does it have any nice statues in it?
Oh yes, it has beautiful statues of. There's one great big statue of Athena in the front, and there's a lot of statues around that are more than human size, about like 7 feet
tall.
Whoa.
Are they getting stolen because of the war going on?
Yes, the English, which are also British, are taking them because they want them in their museums.
That's harsh. So what kind of marble was it made out of?
Pentelic marble.
And did they paint over the marble? Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
All
they
right.
did.
Yeah. All right. And so it had like poles sticking up, holding the ceiling up and
yes,
everything?
yes. It had 7 columns on one side and 17 columns on one side and 8 columns on the other side.
All right.
So, and the people who built it were The
Greek.
people who wanted, like, there's this political leader of Athens that wanted it to be built specifically, and his name was Pericles. Pericles. And there was also some other people.
Okay.
All right. And I have some guests that you might also want to meet.
Okay.
This is Dean Martin.
Welcome to the show, Dean.
Hi, howdy. I guess I'm to be your guest today.
Yes, you are.
Okay. The Parthenon was a very big building. It was built, as the first guest said, it was built for the Greek goddess Athena. Athena was, as she said, the goddess of the warriors. It cost around $10 million to build the Parthenon with all the marble.
Do you know where they get the money? They got the money from to build it?
From taxes and other people.
Oh.
And they used slaves a lot to build it. And they were good at building. They built beautiful statues. And now I gotta go.
Howdy.
Yo.
Yeah, I guess I'm the other guest here. I don't have much to say about the Parthenon.
Why don't you rewind it?
Okay.
All over from the beginning.
Okay.
And like write stuff down.
Go. Okay. Well, the Parthenon was full of many statues made of marble and ivory.
And it was built in the highest city.
Okay, I guess it was.
Yeah, and it rose
And
260 feet above Athens.
yeah, and it cost a lot of money to build, and they got it from rich people that lived there that gave them money to help build it. And that's about all I have to say.
Okay. Thank you very much.
No, right away. Just do something to make you awake.
All right. I got paid. I'm just joking. Okay. Okay, when Pericles built the Parthenon, he was honoring Athena Parthenos, or Athena the Virgin, because she was the patron of the city. Human eye tends to make the horizontal lines of the of what? Oh.
This is where the Acropolis is. This is where the Parthenon, which was there at one point, is now blown up. It's up on that mountain. We would like to tell you that we are very sorry for the Athens, Greece people because of their great monument to Athena, and we hope that they can fix it again and reconstruct it. And thank you very much for listening to World News Tonight. Saying sayonara.
What a shame. Parts of that beautiful building destroyed. You know, as long as we're exploring time and space, there is something I'd like to see. We've all heard about Oedipus, the story written by Sophocles. The one about the baby boy who was prophesied to kill his father and marry his mother? How could that happen? Well, as long as we're roaming around in Greek history, let's go see.
This baby will cause you great pain. It will grow up to kill its father and marry its mother.
That could never happen. My home is filled with love.
Yes, we love our baby.
But if he's going to kill me, I think we should get rid of it.
No!
You cannot destroy it. If you do, you will be altering your fate and you will get in trouble for it.
All right. Take this baby to the highest mountaintop and drop it.
What's in it for me?
You should die. I'll make you one of my most trusted men.
Why do you want it dead?
Because it grows up to kill me and it buries my wife. I don't want that to happen.
I'm not gonna leave it. I'll give it to the childless king and queen, and they'll take it.
Okay, we can do that. Let's go.
And his parents wanted to kill him? That's awful.
I know.
They must be ashamed of themselves.
I know.
Look at this in his swollen foot.
Oh, I know.
I think I'm gonna name him Oedipus.
I know.
The story of Oedipus is about the son of Laos, king of Thebes. An oracle prophesied that Laos and Jacosta's baby would grow to be a man who would kill his father and marry his mother. The oracle's prophecy caused Oedipus's parents to forsake him. As an adult, he unwittingly fulfilled all of the prophecy. He killed his father in an argument over crossing a bridge. He guessed the riddle of the Sphinx and became the king of Thebes.
You get off the bridge, let me pass first.
No one goes through.
If you do not let me pass, we shall do to the death.
All right. Ah! What walks on 4 legs, 2 legs, then 3 legs?
Oh, that's easy.
When Oedipus realized his true relationship to Jocasta, he put out his eyes and wandered the earth until his death.
What a tragedy. You know, not all of the tragedies in Greece were just stories. Some tragedies really happened. I'm thinking of Socrates. He was a great philosopher who came to a tragic end. Some of the classroom are waiting for us right now to show us what really happened to him. Let's join them in the Sentinel Library classroom.
And reenact the trial of Socrates. I am Socrates, and in the first scene, we're going to have Diodorus and Cleon in the marketplace talking about Socrates' trial.
Why is the marketplace so empty today, Diodorus?
I'm surprised at you. Today is a trial of the gadfly.
Yes, I remember. Today Athens will see Socrates answering questions. I've seen him for years in this very marketplace, moving from person to person, asking his infernal questions, pestering everyone when they have important matters to think about. Yes, it will be refreshing to see the judges asking the questions and Socrates coming up with the answers. I hope they will quiet his pestering tongue.
I know what you mean, Cleon. I was speaking to Agamemnon last week about the virtues of our democracy. When from nowhere Socrates bobbed up, you can never hear him coming because he doesn't wear sandals. He says he prefers to allow his bare feet to touch the earth. It is like truth, he says. You can't get to it until you have removed all the barriers that stand in your way. Now, if that isn't enough to convince you that the man is a troublemaker, I don't know what is. But anyway, back to my story. He immediately asked Agamemnon, what is democracy? I guess he had been listening to our conversation.
Really? Why, every Athenian knows what democracy is. After all, we developed it.
Yes, but he kept asking us to define it. Finally, I told him, democracy means that we are free men, equal in our rights and governed by rulers that we freely elect.
Ha ha ha. He certainly couldn't find fault with that.
Oh, don't believe it, Cleon. The old philosopher then asked me who I meant but by we, everyone who lived in Athens.
Come now, Diodorus. He was surely jesting. Every man knows that democracy has to do with the rights of citizens, that only citizens can vote and be judged equally under the laws.
It's obvious you have never been hounded by Socrates. He never gives up. What is freedom? Who is free? What is equality? All manner of silly questions whose answers are just plain obvious to any intelligent man. I'll tell you, he ain't had Agamemnon and me so confused that I developed a thundering headache and had to leave, but not telling the old pest that he was a master of clever but misleading arguments.
What did you say to that?
He just smiled and wished us both well. We saw him shuffle over toward Damon and Jason, who were standing at the entrance to the marketplace. We were both glad to see him go, but felt sorry for Damon and Jason. He really isn't a bad old character, and his intellect is vast, but those who blastered questions.
I don't agree. Those questions are the seed from which more dangerous things can grow. It is about time that the law did something to silence him and his harassment of the good citizens of Athens. Why, the mere idea of asking what democracy is. By the way, did I tell you about the new slave I brought yesterday? He isn't worth the salt I traded for him. Have the guards bring in Socrates.
Socrates of Athens, you are charged with two dishonest crimes. You do not recognize the gods of the state, and you have corrupted the youth of Athens.
The judges of Athens accuse me unjustly. I have never disputed the existence of the gods. I myself am ordered by them to fulfill my philosopher's mission, to cause men to search into themselves for truth. I cannot be changed by impiety, for I am doing the God's work. My life is proof of my belief.
This is all very well, Socrates, but it has been reported that you have questioned others concerning their beliefs. Your questions have caused doubt and offense.
It is not my wish to create doubt and offense. To any of the God's good citizens of this great city, I seek truth and wisdom. My questions should not weaken belief, but give it new strength.
I see you believe yourself to be a kind of conscience for all of Athens.
Yes, though I am inquirers, each man will know himself, and through that knowledge, Athens and her gods will grow greater.
But Socrates, all of Athens knows you care nothing about greatness or wealth.
But I care very much about the truth, and the greatness comes through finding the truth.
Call Xanthopy to the stand.
Judges of Athens, excuse my presence, but I come to plead for my husband, Socrates. I know full well how difficult he can be, but he is a good man. He is pious in his beliefs, and he is an honorable citizen of Athens. I beg for his release. He is old. Let him come with me, and I will try to keep him silent in his remaining years.
Remove her. A woman has no place in such matters.
Socrates, you are also charged with corrupting the youth of Athens. What do you say to this accusation?
This charge hurts me deeply. My life has been a search for truth and wisdom. My students are as dear to me as beauty is to Athens. I could no more corrupt them as Athenians could defy the Parthenon. I want for them the highest pleasure and the one true good, the truth.
But Socrates, you have caused them to question the council, the magistrates, the very democracy of Athens. They follow you through Athens and listening to your questions. They see the irritation you cause. They learned your method of questioning, and they become like you. When they are older, they will become citizens and will take a responsible role in the government. How can they do this if they are constantly tearing down our democracy by such questions? It is commonly known that you have criticized our democracy as corrupt. We cannot continue to let you teach, or our young men.
It is true that I encourage my students to question everything, and that I teach the methods that I use myself. I do this not to make them disloyal to Athens, but to make them think. In order to find wisdom and truth, they must question. Do the judges see the search of truth is a corrupt influence?
I warn you, Socrates, do not be insolent with us.
Who are these men?
I am Plato, and this is Exaphon. We are students of Socrates.
What do you want? You are interrupting a trial.
We have come to speak on behalf of our beloved teacher, Socrates. We fear for his life and believe we are best able to speak of his teaching.
Very well, we will allow you to speak.
Socrates is a good and kind teacher. I have never seen him do wrong to any man or fail to want other men to do good. He makes us work hard to find the truth. We learn to question everything. What is just? What is unjust? What is courage? What is cowardice? What is good government? Who should govern? He makes us think about ourselves and our world.
Has Socrates ever taught you to question our democracy?
Socrates teaches us to question everything for ourselves. He does not say what is good or what is bad for us. We each must reach wisdom through our own path.
Oh, it is true that Socrates may tell us what he believes is true, but he never expects us to accept what he says. He teaches us more by example than anything else. His life is dedicated to reason. He rejects material wealth and power. He teaches us to look beyond the observer and examine our own beliefs. He is the greatest of teachers. Plato, I keep a record of all that he says, since he cares nothing for fame and writes nothing.
I'm tired. I have led a life of sacrifice to the highest virtue of truth and wisdom. I say to the people of Athens, either let me go free or condemn me, for I am not going to stop preaching my ways.
Socrates, be silent. You are again showing a belligerent and haughty attitude towards this council.
I do not fear you, for if you kill me, you hurt yourselves more than you will injure me. Athens is like a mighty steed, which needs to be prodded to action. I have been sent by the gods to be a sort of gadfly, who can stir Athens to action when she has become so settled in her thoughts. Strength comes from adversity.
Enough! We have all heard the haughty words of Socrates. There is nothing more to be said. The council will now vote.
Let me speak. No, it's over. He is the best of all men, all of the men I have ever known.
No, it's over! Shut up!
So, this past month, your disciples have come to this cell every day. You have not spoken of your death, but of philosophy. Socrates, you are so calm.
Why should I not be calm? I do not fear death. I am giving up only the most difficult part of my life, the part that will see my intelligence slowly fade. No, I prefer to die at the height of my power.
Socrates, I am here to save you. I have bribed the guards and you may escape. Come, we must hurry.
Yes, hurry, Socrates. This is our last hope.
Wait, my young friends. What would you have me do? How would my escape further the truth?
Not now. We can analyze it later.
You would have me act on blind impulse? This is not what I have taught you. Reasons must be ruled over your actions. It can run from my fate. My life is here in Athens. My purpose was to protect the city from itself. I will not leave without her.
Someone is coming. It's Xanthippe. Cry.
Socrates, my husband, I have come to be with you in your final moments. I am full of regret. You neglected us. It is true, but you were kind also.
My dear wife, I regret the many days I was absent from you and my family. You were the best wife a man could have. You tolerated me, my ways, and suffered much because of me and me. Plato and Xanthippe home.
Take her home, Plato.
Oh, okay. Come on.
I do not want her to see me die. She has had enough pain.
Here.
Whoa. This hemlock will quench my thirst forever.
Now kill over. All done. Check it out. All done. Yeah.
Hemlock, what a way to go. You know, Greek history is full of great thinkers. Some are writers, some mathematicians, some philosophers. And they not only left us stories, but scientific inventions and mathematical developments. I was in Egypt the other day, and I met a very, very old man who says he was a friend of one of the Greek mathematicians. I'll take you to meet Bill right now.
Welcome to the Cairo Evening News. This is David Boyce with an exciting discovery. Our correspondent, Vanessa Kahn, has met a man named Bill who claims to have known Euclid.
Hello, this is Vanessa Kahn coming from Cairo News with Bill. Come on, Bill. Let me help you. Here we are in Egypt with a very old man named Bill who claims to have met the famous mathematician Euclid. Bill, do you mind if we ask you about the 13 books Euclid wrote?
No, I don't mind. The first 10 books were on the elements. The next 3 were on Euclid, and the next 3 were on, I'm not really sure what they were on because I forgot. Euclid was a good mathematician. He lived around 300 BC. I know him because he was my next door neighbor. I used to ask him questions about my math homework, but I still don't understand math, and he didn't help me much with geometry. But he was still a good teacher. And he was a good man and a good mathematician. And that's mostly what I know about Euclid. And thank you for asking me on your show.
Thank you, Bill. And now back to David Boyce for more Cairo News.
Thank you, Vanessa. That was exciting. This is David Boyce signing off from Cairo News and returning you to Kelly Earp and Time Space Warp news breaks at Sentinel.
My goodness, Euclid sounds like a very interesting fellow. Those Greeks were certainly interested in math, but they were also interested in science. And with the help of today's scientific technology, we have been able to pick up some information about the Greek scientist Ptolemy. Yes, we're on our way right now to join 3 students who have found out about a great man who took a wrong turn at the first star.
Good afternoon, I'm Lorraine. I'm going to talk about Ptolemy. He lived from 100 AD to 70. He lived to be around 78. Exact dates and information on his life are unknown. Ptolemy is known for making the Ptolemy system. He thought that the Earth was the middle of the solar system. He lived in Egypt most of his life and did his studying there. 2 of Ptolemy's major studies were Almagest and geography. Almagest was the earliest of his works. It had to do with the sun, moon, and planets. Geography was an attempt to map the world. We now know that everything revolves around the sun and not the earth.
I am Chuck Evil. I'm going to tell you about Ptolemy, a Greek geometer. He had a theory that the Earth was stationary as the center of the universe. He theorized that the planets, sun, and the rest of the stars rotated around the Earth. He dedicated his life to writing about it. He wrote numerous books, and
we all know that sun is the center of the Earth.
What an interesting side trip to the stars. Speaking of stars, we're headed for Hollywood right now. You may wonder what Hollywood has to do with the Greeks. We'll make a stop at the soundstage of the Peter Artist Show. This week she's interviewing students about philosophers and mathematicians. First we'll meet her assistant Jeff, who has prepared a game for us called Name That Philosopher. Let's see what he has in store for us.
Hi, this is Jeff from the Peter Artist Show, and this week on our show we have a special game called Name That Philosopher. This week we're going to have our guest speaker Bill telling us a little information about our guest speaker, and if you win and find out who it is, you get a special trip to his homeland.
This philosopher, he lived during 560 BC to 480 BC, a Greek philosopher, a religious leader, and responsible for important developments in the history of mathematics, astronomy, and the theory of music.
Okay, I guess we can take our first caller then. Hello, okay, we've got Kathy from New York.
Was it Socrates?
No, Kathy, it was not Socrates, I'm sorry. Would you like to try again?
I'll give you some more background on this guy. This man, he migrated to Croton, and he founded a philosophical and a religious school there that attracted many followers because no reliable contemporary records survive, and because of the school practice secrecy, the contributions of himself, of those and his followers cannot be found.
Sounds like a pretty neat guy. So, do you want to try again? Oh, next caller. Okay, sorry about that. Beatrice? Okay, we have Beatrice from Texas.
Was it Euripides?
No, I'm afraid it wasn't Euripides either. Bill, you want to give us just a little bit more information on this guy?
Sure, I will. They noticed that vibrating strings produce harmonious tones when the ratios of the lengths of the strings are whole numbers, and that these ratios could be extended to other instruments. And they also knew that, he also believed that his soul could jump to animals' bodies and stuff.
That's an earful, isn't it? Well, Sorry, Beatrice, but we have to take our next caller. So, Tabitha from Louisiana.
I know this one. It's Hippocrates.
No, it's not Hippocrates either. Jeez. All right, we'll take our next caller. I guess we have Jim from Montana. Okay.
It's Oedipus.
No, it's not Oedipus either. I think we're gonna need some more information about this guy.
This guy in astronomy, he was well aware of the periodic numeral relations in the heavenly bodies, he called them celestial spheres. The planets were thought to produce harmony, called the music of spheres. They believed the earth itself was in motion. The most important discovery of this school, which upset Greek mathematics as well as this group's own belief, the whole numbers and their ratios could account for geothermal properties as the inconsumability of the diagonal of the square with its side.
Well, I think that we're going to have to take our last caller here. So I guess we have Nancy from British Columbia. Is that okay? Go ahead.
It's Pythagoras.
Oh.
Yes, that's right. You win a free trip to Samos, where Pythagoras grew up and learned how to transmigrate his souls and stuff. Okay. Thank you very much. You'll be receiving your tickets and stuff in the mail, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Hi, and this is the Future Artist Show. I'm Future Artist. Today we have two local high school students, and their names are
Rob Renault
and Erica Herod. They are studying the philosophy of Pythagoras, mathematician, vegetarian, and cult leader. I've been studying up on Pythagoras too, and I heard that, or I read in a book that the planets made sounds as they rotated around the sun, and so that made numbers come easier. Is this true?
Yeah.
Pythagoras had an important theory. Could you explain this theory to us, Erica?
Yes, right here I have his little thing, his little model. In a right triangle, the sum of the squares of the legs equal the square of the hypotenuse.
And can you tell me something about Pythagoras?
Yes. Pythagoras thought that you could be reincarnated into either plants or animals, but he wasn't quite sure about the plants. And one day he thought he heard the voice of one of his dead friends and the howl of a dog being beaten.
I disagree, because my theorem is that since geometry is unfounded, I made up my own theorem, the Rob Renault theorem. And so geometry shouldn't be studied.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for that information, guys. And this is the Future Artist Show, and I'm signing off. Goodbye. Come back next week.
It's hard to believe that Pythagoras developed that triangle theory so long ago, and we still use it today. But it's true. In fact, I was strolling around in ancient Greece just last week looking for a historical figure. I interviewed a man who developed something else we still use today. His name is Archimedes. Would you like to meet him? I'll bet you would.
Hi, I'm Kelly and this is Chad. Welcome to the show of historical personalities. Today we have here with us a true mathematical genius. So without further ado, here's Archimedes.
Our first question for you today is, where were you born?
Syracuse, Sicily, 212 BC.
The second one is, what would you consider to be your greatest mathematical achievement that is used today?
It would have to be pi. used to measure circles.
Many people are aware of the close relationship you have to King Hero. Some people think that the two of you were related. Were you related to the king?
Good friends.
How does your invention of the screw work exactly?
I'll take you to my drawing board. Okay, here's water. Land. This strip is spiraled around any incline axis and is turned, water rises to the top. So, water gathers in the strips. Then when it's turned, dumps the water out on the land.
Can you explain the theory of weight in water?
Sure. A body immersed in a fluid is buoyed up by a force equal to the weight of the fluid is displaced. When an object floats, its apparent loss of weight is equal to the weight of an equal volume of the liquid floats. I'll show you. Water and a buoy. Water will raise.
Wow, he was a very impressive man, wasn't he? I don't know about you, but all this trotting around through time is wearing me out. That's good timing because we're at the end of our time-space warp newscast for today. You know, we've explored just a little of the rich heritage left to us by the Greeks. It seems they've had quite an impact on the Western world. This newscast has certainly given us all some things to think about. And we'll have even more to think about next week when we travel back in time to interview Homer himself. Don't miss it. Good night from me, Kelly Earp.